Hello friends, welcome to the official YouTube page of Everest IAS Academy. So today we are going to discuss February 13, 2020 Hindu newspaper analysis from the UPSc Prelims 2020 point of view. So the first article which came in the headlines is Bill to regulate pesticide business gets green light. So basically friends, this with respect to this pesticide regulation act, it was like considered to be till now in India we had a very old act. So that act was actually still regulated by Insecticide Act that was passed in 1968. So now recently only our government is actually like we have proposed an amendment and this has been finalized by the Union Cabinet and soon it is going to be tabled in the Parliament. So let's go and discuss some of the provisions. But once it becomes an act only, things will get confirmed, all the provisions. So that time we will again discuss what are the alterations they are doing in the Parliament. But as of now, what are the crucial things which they have proposed as part of the bill means basic thing is they wanted to give compensation to the farmers because of the low quality of pesticides and health effects which arise from due to irregular use of pesticides and low quality pesticides. This is the main thing they wanted to address through this bill. In addition to that friends, what they have done is that they are actually through this amendment they are actually going to create one digital database and that will be made in all the languages of India so that farmers will get to know the information about the pesticide, what effects will have, how much is its efficiency on the crops, what are its health effects, so whether how much is the quality of that pesticides, all this information will be available hereafter and that has to be made publicly so that it should be accessed by even a common man in India, especially farmers. So as we have discussed, they are looking for amendment to Insecticides Act of 1968. So one more thing is friends, they have also increased the fine amount. Hereafter, if any private companies, if they are selling prohibited pesticides, what happens is that these prohibited pesticides, they will have serious health effects for the farmers like endosulfan which is considered to cause even cancer to the farmers of Kerala. So that time what happened, we have prohibited this endosulfan itself in India. So when these prohibited these pesticides, if they are sold in the country means our government through this act, through the amended act, it can it can go for a penalty and imprisonment also. Previously it was only just 2000 and just up to 3 years imprisonment. From 2000 we have increased the fine to 50 lakhs. You see friends how much they have increased, and even the imprisonment they have made it now 5 years imprisonment. So they have actually increased the punishment through this act. And apart from that, our government is also planning to create a central fund, and this fund will be used to whenever there is a losses because of low quality usage of low quality pesticides, then through the government fund this compensation will be provided to the concerned farmers of the state. And one critics which has come with respect to this act is what the various experts are saying is that in this particular act even the state government has to be included as a crucial decision maker. But as of now in this bill, if you see friends, they don't have that much actually adequate representation is not there, especially for the states. That is the only critique. And as we have discussed, the company has to give the losses when if they are going for prohibited drug sale, then they have to pay the compensation or loss to the government, and even imprisonment is also there. And what are the other provisions? If you see friends, suppose a person, private company, if he is going and importing these pesticides from other countries means then they have to get the proper registration with the government only. They have to register that they are going to import this kind of pesticides from other countries. And one more thing is, even if they wanted to export also a concerned pesticides from India means they have to register with the government and they have to provide all the details with respect to that, like what are its efficiency as well as its safety, like health effects upon the farmers and infrastructure available, especially the farmers, especially private companies, if they are importing means they should have a proper storage facility that the government will see hereafter. So as we have discussed, all the database in future hereafter after the bill, it will be available in digital format and that can be accessed by the farmers of the country. And one more thing is friends, our government through this bill is also including penal especially punishments will be given. In addition to that, fines will also be included suppose if the private companies are indulging in misleading advertisement campaigns. So if you see, as a matter of fact, currently in India is considered to be one of the leading producers of pesticides. But the problem is in the domestic market, who are consuming more means basically friends, if you see most of the green revolution benefited states, especially like Punjab, Haryana, they are considered to be the area where the per capita consumption of all this infrastructure, pesticides are considered to be very high. That we know through green revolution only. And Maharashtra and UP also now taking a lead in this front in the usage of pesticides. That's why our government is now looking for a penalty for this misleading advertisements as well as provisions for compensation for farmers. Next article is Cabinet clears Major Ports Authority Bill. Basically friends, here also they are going and actually replacing a very old act. That act is under 1963, it was passed. Now we are going to bring in new bill, that is Major Ports Authority Bill. This has been finalized by Cabinet also, like that previous bill. But here what they are going to do means, instead of existing Major Port Trust Act, they are actually going to create Major Ports Authority Bill, because they are going to create a separate authority. That is a major amendment. That is a board for Major Port Authority. This is a particular authority which will be concerned hereafter about administration, control and management of ports in the country. Why there is a necessity for such a bill as of now? If you see friends, basically our government through the ports, as of now we have 12 major ports, but the problem is what happens is that a lot of private sectors we have allowed in the ports infrastructure development, and this between these private companies and PPP operators there have been lot of disputes which are coming up, and we need some administrative mechanism to tackle their problem on a much faster scale. That's why we have separately created this particular body called Board of Major Port Authority, and that will regulate and make a decision making on a faster manner. Next article is the editorial article, Nutrition and the Budget's Fine Print. Basically friends, in this article they are basically talking about the malnutrition problem in India. Malnutrition, as a matter of fact, we have discussed a lot in detail in our previous videos also. So we know already, we have discussed about the global hunger index which was released. So in that, according to the latest global hunger index, India has been ranked very low. Out of 117 countries friends, if you see, India has been ranked like 1 or 2 only. So this is considered to be a very poor scale. And one more thing is that as part of that, for addressing this malnutrition problem in India, we have actually 3 main programs. First is the poshanabhiyan, as they say, or the National Nutritional Mission. Second is that recently our government has created a portal, that is this Bharatiya Poshan Course. It is an atlas they have created, that we will discuss. And third thing is that ICDS scheme. These are the major schemes. But if you see friends, as of now we are facing in problem not with respect to the like lagging of schemes. So we are actually having too many schemes to address malnutrition, and only thing is we need a proper convergence among the schemes. That is the first thing. Second thing is, whatever funds we are allocating for this malnutrition problem under these schemes, the states are actually underutilizing. So that they have this article, in this article the author has actually used those facts to justify the things what he is going to say. So let's go and discuss what are the other problems and other dimensions of malnutrition. If you see friends, there are actually 3 basic problems in India we are facing. First is the calorific deficiency. Second is that protein hunger we are facing. Third thing is that micronutrient deficiency. Micronutrients refers to some examples I can give, that is calcium, iron. So lack of these minerals in the food, so that will lead to, especially they are called as micronutrients, that will also lead to micronutrient deficiency. So with respect to malnutrition, we have 3 basic problems: calorific deficiency, protein deficiency, and then third one is that micronutrient deficiency, that we will discuss friends. So as we have discussed, the first one is the calorific deficiency. Here the problem is our government is already promoting ICDS scheme, where nutritional related problems and health education for children's pregnant mother and lactating mothers are taken care under the scheme. But the problem is, what happens is that in the implementation only, because if you see last year budget, what we have allocated is 11,000 crore we have allocated, but we have spent only around 9,912 crore. So there is always a, like if you see friends, in the implementation front, there is always a less expenditure they are doing on the ground front. That is one problem. So then he is actually validating the facts through all the deficiencies. In protein hunger also in India, if you see friends, currently actually like the pulses we are facing a deficiency, because pulses we are actually already importing from other countries only for our self survival and self sufficiency. So pulses our government is actually promoting through various schemes to encourage the farmers to go for pulses actually like farming in the country. But that is a problem. Because of lack of pulses, our government has included it under various schemes like midday meal scheme, PDS and ICDS also. But here also the same problem is, like out of the allocated 800 crore in the last year, we have spent only around half of that amount, less than half of the amount. This is a problem that this author is particularly saying. In micronutrient deficiency, as we said, there is a lack of like calcium, iron and vitamins also. So here also we are facing an implementation problem. These are the problems we face now. But with respect to that, this author is saying we need some convergence in the implementation also, because what this author is saying, because this micronutrition efficiency or malnutrition is going to play a very crucial role for the India's development in the future. Because if you see friends, this is actually going to affect the workers' health efficiency. And one more thing is that it will also determine the, even it will actually address the education related fronts also, that this particular author has actually like he has talked about in this article in very much detail. And one more thing what he is also suggesting is that in the future our like in India we should go for this agricultural nutrition link, especially we know already we have discussed farmer producer organizations. Here farmers will actually come in group and they will form this organization where they will produce and they will also marketize. This is the particular organization, and through that they can also access the government funds also. So currently now what happens is that our government is also planning to encourage these farmer producer organizations, and through that farmers also to go for a agricultural nutritional link. So once this is done means, based upon the various agroclimatic zones in the country, we can actually go and understand what are the crops they are cultivating, and the government is also planning to give a suggestions to the farmers to go for this micronutrient deficiency problems. So once the pulses has been actually cultivated in our country itself on a large scale, this malnutrition problem can be addressed. That's why our government is planning for this agricultural nutrition link. And one more crucial thing on the world front, if you see, our government is also planning to achieve this problem, that is sustainable development goals, especially goal 2. Under that it has been listed, we have need to eradicate zero hunger, that is we need to achieve this status of zero hunger within by 2030. So within a matter of 10 years we need to achieve that, but still we are poorly ranked in the international front. That is our rank is 102 out of the 117 countries which has been ranked. So as we have discussed, this malnutrition will affect, as we have said, it will affect the educational standards, that is cognitive ability, that is the thinking ability will be affected, and even workers efficiency will be affected, and their health will be affected. So as a matter of fact, based upon like World Bank the statistics, it will have an impact on up to 16% of GDP. Hence it is very important for the economic perspective. That's what this author is saying, friends. And let's go and discuss some these schemes which has been discussed in this article, which is very important for the preliminary examination. First is the National Nutritional Mission or the poshanabhiyan scheme. Here the government is actually planning to improve the nutritional outcomes for children, pregnant mother and pregnant women and lactating mothers. So they are actually, the basic idea of the scheme is that we are actually giving an interconvergence. We are converging all the schemes so that we need a better service delivery, and also we are better using all the technologies which are available, so that we will keep an track on the monitoring, and tracking will be done for the performance of women and children, and intensified health and nutritional service will be done for the first 1000 days. So we are giving a high focus area for the newborn children and pregnant and lactating mothers. And Jan Andolan refers to the people's movement. So through better awareness, we want the people to be educated so that they will actually consume all these malnutrition and address the problem. So this is the 4 main pillars of this National Nutrition Mission. So one more thing is, recently only our government has actually came out with Bharatiya Poshan Krishi Course, friends. This is a new scheme. Basically under this scheme our government has, especially under the Ministry of Child and Development, has collaborated with Bill Gates Foundation, that is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. In that they have launched the India's first Poshan Atlas. So in this Poshan Atlas, it will have a database of all the crops which has been cultivated in the various agroclimatic zones of the country. Once this database is available means, the government can better procure from the farmers, and even through various schemes like MSP, that is the minimum support price which is available to the farmers. Through that it can influence the farmers to go for like such a kind of micronutrients which can be cultivated in the particular agroclimatic zones of the country. So this is the idea of this particular database, friends. And the third scheme we wanted to discuss is that ICDS scheme. This scheme has been actually implemented, like it has been launched in 1975 only during the Indira Gandhi time period. So basically the basic objective of the scheme is it covers the children in the age group of 0 to 6 years, and it wanted to address the main problem of malnutrition as well as school dropout, because it affects the cognitive ability of the students also. That's why they wanted to take care along this front. And through this scheme they are also promoting health education and proper nutrition also. And this scheme ICDS is basically a centrally sponsored scheme, and states need to implement it. So it is basically a universal scheme. So if you see the beneficiaries, as we have discussed, children in the age group of 0 to 6 years, pregnant and lactating mothers. And one more thing is, friends, under ICDS, they not only just provide nutrition and nutrition related education and health education, they will also include immunization services through with the help of engaging with Anganwadi centers in the rural areas, and proper health checkup will be done for pregnant and lactating mothers, and referral services also will be done, because Anganwadi health workers, if the woman is facing any complicated problem, they will identify it, they will refer it to the proper district hospitals in the nearby cities. Next article is India amends tax pact with Sri Lanka. Basically, in this article, they are talking about the double taxation avoidance government. Recently, friends, we know Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has visited India. That time, he has asked, we have signed very crucial agreements, not only upon the economic front, along strategic front also, like counter-terrorism operation, we have signed with India, Sri Lanka and Maldives also. We are planning to implement this particular agreement. As part of that, we have also signed on the economic front double taxation avoidance agreement. From the prelims point of view, we should understand the basics of a double taxation avoidance agreement, friends. Basically, friends, if you see, there are like so many companies in India as well as in Sri Lanka, and a foreign, suppose in India, let's take the example of like Reliance company. Suppose if it is from India, if it is going and investing in Sri Lanka, means now what happens is that they have to normally, if you see, they have to pay taxes in India also for the money they are earning, and Sri Lanka also for the profits which they are generating there. So it is considered to be a double taxation for them, and it will affect their particularly business environment. So for this solution, various countries across the world, they have come out with this double taxation avoidance agreement. In this agreement, they will be given the liberty to choose the destination where they wanted to pay the taxes. That's the idea of the scheme, so that the investors will not get affected. So that's the recent agreement which the Indian government has signed with, especially Sri Lankan government. We have signed with various governments also across the country. So under double taxation avoidance agreement, services, salaries, properties and capital gains from share markets, all these will be actually accounted for, and they will be actually like given a particular like specification, so where they can choose in which particular country they wanted to pay the taxes. This is the idea of this particular scheme, friends. Next article is WHO to decide on emergency status of Ebola in like Democratic Republic of Congo. So basically, this is a country in the African country, this Democratic Republic of Congo. So now what happens is that they have actually last 2 years, if you see, friends, they have suffered due to the effects of Ebola virus. So basically, Ebola virus we will study, friends, in this article only. But what happened when they suffered, that time WHO has actually declared it as a public health emergency of international concern, like how we have declared recently the novel coronavirus at COVID 2019, as we have declared that also as a public health emergency of international concern. Once that has been declared, means WHO will give you a complex risk management strategy. In addition to that, travel advisory will also be given, and funding mechanism will be also be arranged for the suffering countries. This is what they have done for the Ebola virus also in the past. But currently, the WHO, especially UN health experts, are they actually thinking about reviewing the status of Ebola outbreak, because already it has been considered as a global health emergency. Now there has been a decline in the number of recent cases, so they wanted to review this particular status. But let's go and discuss the Ebola virus facts, because that is only very important for the preliminary examination. Initially, it had its origin in the bats only. Basically, friends, why even though many of the viruses, if you see Ebola and even this coronavirus, all has originated in bats only. The basic reason is because it has a less inflammatory sense. So that anti-inflammatory sense which will be developed normally in humans will be considered to be much higher. Rather, in case of bats and all, that inflammatory response will be actually very dormant or dampened. That's why they were able to actually have a reservoir of various viruses rather than getting affected for them. Now what happened, from the bats actually it got transferred to various monkeys like chimpanzees and gorilla. And in Africa, when these peoples, tribal people, when they consumed these chimpanzees, it got transmitted to humans. This is how it has originated. So what are the other ways now this Ebola virus can get transmitted to humans? Means by having a close contact with the blood secretions, or touching upon the objects any infected person is touching, and there the virus is actually there. And one more thing is consumption of infected animals like these chimpanzees or any gorilla monkeys also will actually transfer the diseases to healthy human beings. And what are the damage it will cause to human beings? Means if you see the symptoms only, they look very similar to coronavirus, that is fever, sore throat or dry throat, headache, muscle pain, all these are common. But one crucial thing with respect to Ebola virus is it will lead to lot of blood leakage, that is blood hemorrhage mechanism will get affected, and lot of external and internal bleeding will happen, and even it will lead to multiple organ failure. And if you see the incubation time period, it is from 2 to 21 days. In case of coronavirus, it is just 2 weeks, that is 14 days only, friends, for the virus to expose the symptoms. But in case of Ebola virus, it even goes up to 3 weeks, that is 21 days. So next article is bank the unbanked to achieve $5 trillion goal. Basically, this has been given by economic survey recommendations only. That only recently our president of India has actually he has given this particular speech. What he has said is that to achieve this target of $5 trillion economy, currently we are having only $2.6 trillion economy, Indian economy. So we wanted to nearly double it, this target. So for doubling the target, in the economic survey they have given the recommendation that we need at least more than 8 banks to be placed in the top 100 global banks of the country. That was the recommendation given, and this has been stressed by the president of India also. So why do we need that so many number of banks as a global banks means? Currently, as of now, we have only SBI which has been listed in the 59th position in the global rank. So basically friends, when we have lot of global banks that is originated from India means these banking institutions will have a better credit ability to actually to give loans to the business communities, and they can actually through this they can go for better investments. This is the idea of this particular recommendation, and that has only been stressed by our president of India. In addition, he said that our government should target we should provide the banking facilities to the unbanked sections of the country. That we have already done, because through the Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana, nearly friends 35 crore accounts have been created, banking accounts has been created in the country, and also to secure the unsecured. These are the targets which has been stressed by our president of India. Thank you friends, and kindly subscribe to our channel. If you have any doubts, please post your doubts in the comment section.